Hey there, this is Jacob Corey Gold, and I am happy to be here and to share more um, from all the things like I have to continue to say that I'm happy to be here because I do enjoy to share. I enjoy the share. I enjoy the time of reflection that it requires for me to be able to share. Um, and I think this episode is going to kind of draw attention to kind of the process because I may have shared this before, but I don't write a whole lot of things down. I have a thought, and as time goes, my innermost being, I'll have thoughts and things will come up, omens will come up along the way that will say, okay, add this to that thought, add this to that thought. And so, what I'm going to share today, it has to do with love and how love molds. Uh, but I'm going to take it from a perspective that I just earlier I was actually I was in the shower and the thought came to me where it said, uh, "Feed my sheep." Well, what does feed my sheep have to do with love? When you think about it, if you ever feed anyone or anything, you must love it because what you're saying is that you want it to live. You feed things for them to live. You don't want to overfeed it. You don't want to overdo it, but it's feed my sheep. And again, if you're thinking about even uh, those that are less fortunate, those that we are, uh, the word says, the Bible says that the poor will be among you always. So it takes a love in us to feed those that are hungry, to share with those that have that sort of a need. And as it relates to just a need in general, there is a need for love. I say it again, there is a need for love. And uh, so I mentioned earlier in terms of the process of how these thoughts, these shares come together. Well, this one is, in as much as it's fully baked because it's inside of me, um, again, we're going to merge thoughts. And as I share, and this is the beautiful thing, is that I'm learning as I'm sharing and I'm growing as I'm sharing. That is what's necessary as we share, we are to grow. Because it's not one of those things where I'm sharing down at someone. I'm sharing with my brothers and my sisters. So just work with me as it relates to how we'll get to where we're going to go, because I don't even know how we're going to get there. But in as much as the thought about love shaping and feeding oneself and feeding others, then the next thought came, well, you are what you eat. I've said before on several other episodes that the way that we speak to ourselves is heaven on earth. The way that we speak to ourselves is heaven. It can be heaven or hell on earth if we have not learned how to speak to ourselves. Well, speaking to oneself is the same as feeding oneself. You are what you eat. If I am eating thoughts of love, then that's what's going to manifest. That's what I become. So that's how we get back to love molding, because we're feeding ourselves, we're feasting on love. And as we feast on love, allow love to mold, allow love to shape. And I'm saying this way because as I walked on this journey, and I've said before, as we get closer to the light, as we walk towards the light, we begin to look like the light. Well, that's the same principle. As we eat and feast on love, we look like love. We become love. And that is not always the love that we were taught as a child. Because sometimes, and I'm going to say the love that we were taught as a child, because that it can differ from the love of creation, the love of light. Because no matter what I look like, what I say, love still loves. Some of us may have experiences to where if I said something or looked a certain kind of way coming up, then it may appear that folks don't love me no more. If I did something, if I acted a certain way, then all of a sudden is withdrawn. Well, that's not love. That's the way that we perceive and divide and separate. Well, I'm gonna like you over here because you look like me, you talk like me, you walk like me. I'm not gonna pay attention to you over there because you don't look like me. You don't walk like me. You don't talk like me. Where's the love in that? But if we are feasting on love, we'll see these worlds to unify in a way that we've been saying we are one. I've already said on before that in terms of the introduction, there are three premises that we're standing on. Love is creation's greatest idea. We are one, and we are the generation of the light. All those things combined into feasting on love allows again our worlds to merge and to unite that says your differences don't matter because love is shaping me from the inside out. And if love is shaping me from the inside out, guess what love will do? Love will fix the way that you talk. Love will, and when I say fix, that is the premise of saying that there's something wrong. Well, in as much as we have to remember what true love, what the only love is, the love of our Creator is. Again, love being man's and creation's greatest idea. We have to remember that. And in remembering that, again, I spoke to it before. There are layers that we have to get through. The layer of, oh my gosh, somebody said something, and or like I said earlier, in terms of if I speak a certain way that somebody doesn't like, then love is withdrawn. Those are layers of stuff that we have to work through. Like, wait a minute, love was withdrawn there. So there's a memory there. But deep beyond all of those memories of heartache, of trauma that we've experienced, there's the pureness of love's creation because love created us. And so, if as we remember that love that is on the throne of our hearts, it will shape us, it will mold us. Just like if you think about the ocean and water beating against that rock, it's going to shape, it's going to mold it. It's going to be smooth on certain edges, it's going to be rough on certain edges, but it's going to naturally shape that rock. The same with love. As we feast on love, it shapes. It causes me to be non-judgmental. The previous episode, I talked about competition. If I love you, I can't compete against you. I'm not going to attack you, think ill thoughts, because love won't allow me to think an ill thought. I can be driving down the road, and all of a sudden somebody cuts me off. And love will say, just slow down and let him have it. Now, my ego will say, honk the horn. And I've had to learn how to stop honking horns. Love just says, just slow down and let them have it. What? Yeah, that's how love is shaping. Love shapes the way that we speak to one another, the way that we treat one another, the way that we think about ourselves. I've said before that I used to attack myself and my thoughts. Stop doing that. Why are you doing that? You tripping. How is that something to say to yourself? Something that I learned along the way. I picked it up and I put it down. I no longer talk to myself like that. And so therefore I can't talk to you like that. That's how love is shaping. That's how love is shifting. And as we allow love just to be love, that's how and what we're offering to feed the sheep. So we're feeding the sheep forgiveness. We're feeding the sheep. I'm talking about forgiveness, looking beyond what we say was whatever it is and judging it accordingly. That's not our function in the earth. Man's function, God's creation, man's function in the earth is to walk in love, to walk in the likeness of our Creator. Yes, we have to remember that again because of all the trauma that we as a people, various societies, from the very beginning of time and the very beginning of the thought of time. But as we move forward and as we, again, feast on love, now I can give love. And so that's why, again, I have to go back to what I said earlier. That's why I love to share because I'm feasting on what I'm sharing. And because I share it in the spirit of love from the depths of who I am, I'm not here to argue with anyone, I'm not here to attack anyone. I am here to continue to uh, share the experiences that I've had with the light because I believe we all have incredibly rich experiences with the light. And this is an opportunity for me just to name a few things along the way because they keep me mindful, they keep me growing, they keep me um, wanting to know and to learn more, wanting to remember more because we are fully whole. There's nothing that is lacking in God's creation. We just have to remember that. There's no loss in God's creation, and God's creation is as it was from the very beginning until now. Call him love, call him Yahweh, whoever, Buddha, whoever your ultimate creator is, we are all one. We all come from a thought to be expressed here in the earth, such that we can remember again that our expressions are coming from the same source. Spoke about source previously as well. So all these thoughts continue to come together. Thank you for listening. And again, as all of these thoughts merge together in terms of love molding, feed my sheep, how and what we dine on is what it is that manifests. And if we're dining and as we're dining on love, that's what it is that I have to feed with. Feed myself first. We have to be the first partakers, and then we learn how to share abroad. That is the share for today. Thank you all for continuing to listen. Uh, Let us continue to walk towards the light together. Grace.